how far involved would you say with the formation of STOIC?
Well, it was underway to a point when I arrived at the college, in that when I first turned up at the Freshers recruitment day, there was a STOIC recruitment going on, but not very much was happening. It was partly the electrical engineering Wednesday afternoon make a television programme in a quarter of an hour slot, which they were doing at the time, and half of the involvement with STOIC was driving the equipment for that, and the other half was trying to get the society off the ground to actually start making programmes. The biggest difficulty was the inertia of the electrical engineering department, who were rather reluctant at that time to let the students loose on the equipment. And Colin, in fact, deserves a lot of credit for breaking down that barrier to a great extent. In fact, the extent of Colin's achievement now only really becomes apparent 10 years afterwards.
Well, we felt we were really starting the thing. We had a great struggle at the beginning. Our main problem was actually getting people to watch it. We puzzled for nights and nights trying to think, how can we get them to watch the stuff? Because we'd put a monitor up with a little 3-watt speaker. No one would look at it.
Where was that? That was in JCR, was it?
That was in the JCR. That's the first outlet we ever had. And eventually we discovered that for the enormous sum of about £1, I think it was, we could hire a Tom and Jerry film, which was the secret of our success. And we would show a Tom and Jerry, closely followed by a news programme, which we hoped that they would watch, and sort of took it up from there.
How difficult was it to recruit people then, not just from electrical engineering, but from other departments?
Well, it was quite difficult. We didn't have too much trouble in getting hold of people who wanted to point the cameras or were interested in the technical side of television. Even television as we did it 10 years ago, which was black and white 625 lines, and on the 52nd edition that Pi made of a rather strange closed-circuit television system, most of which I see is still in use. But getting people to appear in front of the cameras is very difficult, and obviously you need good people in front of the cameras, perhaps even more than you need good people behind the cameras. And that was the biggest problem, getting hold of people who not only would appear in front of a camera, but who gave a semblance of appearing vaguely natural. And it was almost impossible to do.
What's it like looking forward 10 years to see how STOIC has developed since it began in your day?
Ambivalent kind of feelings. First of all, obviously there's a certain amount of pride that something that I was in at the start of has done so well. There's also a feeling of jealousy when I think what we might have achieved with the level of enthusiasm amongst the early STOIC members, given the equipment you have now, the colour camera that Mr. Powell over there is pointing at us, which even when you consider the fact that when STOIC first started, the videotape machine that the electrical engineering department had was a Philips, which wouldn't even play back its own tapes. It was after about 6 months we got an Ampex, which would at least play back its own tapes and even play back tapes from other sources. So much has been dependent on the way in which the college has been able to get more and more technical facilities.
I think STOIC changed very much from before my time, because it became much more college oriented. We really made use of the rover and that sort of thing. We introduced election broadcasts, and that sort of type of item really introduced college interest. That was all some time ago then, of course. Things have changed.
When was that in particular? What year?
76, 77. That's right, that's when I was chairman.
Well, we basically used the elec engine equipment. We were desperately trying to get a Sony rover all through that period, and just before I left we managed to get one. We were using a Quartz 8mm camera, and I remember Graham Foster, who's with us tonight, disappearing into my wardrobe every Wednesday night, I think it was, to process these little bits of film and rush out madly and edit them, and it was great fun, it really was.
Now, I think people have got into the habit of thinking up new ideas. It's really got them much more, and there's certainly many more good ideas around. Now he needs the people to do them.
I think, we demonstrated that students can make television programmes, and from what I gathered here this evening, that certainly has continued and will continue for a long time.